Yeah, you are live.
Okay, on air. Hey guys, I'm happy to see you again for our October's AMA. I'm here this month with Rodrigo Nascimento, our interview and CTO, and with Marcelo Schmidt, our COO.
Hello, I'm Rodrigo Nascimento, Rocket.Chat CTO, and I will be answering some questions from you today. I think that's a good time to start talking about our migration from the native apps to the React Native. We just released a blog post explaining with more details. You can go in our website and check more about it. But I want to say some main things about why we decide to move that. And the main points are we want to concentrate some our resources in the same base code, so we can have the same more developers working on a single product, even being having differences between iOS and Android. Most of the code we can share and the logic we can share. We can share code as well with our interface and the backend of the core product, since everything is using the same language. So in the future, when you start using TypeScript or some other languages, you can share interfaces and some classes to define objects and models and so on. And it's better to ship some features because you can have same features in both systems on iOS and Android at the same time. So people will not have less features in Android as we have today, and iOS always with more features. So it's a feature sync. It's better, and of course you can ship faster bug fixes and new features because since it's written in JavaScript, you have more developers. Everyone in a company that works for the core product and the front end can help to fix all the issues if necessary. And it's quite easy to contribute because we know that the JavaScript community is wider, and all of our products are using JavaScript as well. So anyone that already contributes to Rocket.Chat can contribute easily to the mobile clients as well. So one the point is we are going to replace the Android and iOS soon. The Android's already in progress, and the iOS will be replaced next month. Yeah, stay tuned for new versions.
Awesome, Rodrigo. We have some questions for you
Yep.
from the community, and we are trying out a new format of our AMA. So please send us your feedbacks, and let's start with the questions.
Let's go.
The first question is from Ethereum. When do you see Rocket Chat be on pair with commercial offerings such as Slack, Microsoft Teams, etc., in terms of stability and quality?
Yeah, it depends on how you compare them. In some ways, it's already better, but just talking about stability and quality. Um, we are already working on scalability. That's one point that will take us to a better stability and quality because we need to change some points to be more scalable, and all these things will make the product more stable as well. We are working on a new UI, completely new UI, rewritten everything in React, so it will help us to make the clients more stable, the web clients more stable as well. Since we are doing regression tests using React, we're using storybooks to be able to check all the UI in the same place as well, and that help us to have a better stability and prevent bugs. We are replacing our mobile apps, as I just said before, with the new React app as well that allow us to have all these things that I just mentioned for the mobile apps as well, helping us to have a better stability and quality in everything. And since you are creating all this new UI based on a new UI system, a new design system, everything will be more consistent as well. Um, One of the things that we are working right now is the messaging chaining, is a way to have to ensure that we receive all the messages in the channel. We know that we have some problems where you sometimes don't receive all the messages, or you miss some messages in the mobile apps. And we are creating a blockchain, a chain of messages that will help the UI or all the clients that are consuming the APIs to ensure that they have all that chain. And we are moving some parts of the core to apps, and that will help us to reduce the size of our core, and have a more stable version of it, and have the extra features in apps. So you can install them if you want, and that will not generate any kind of bug or instability if you don't need that feature because you not have that installed in any way. That's the paths we are uh, taking now to have a better and stable product.
Awesome. The second question is from John Banner. Is there any news on Rocket.Chat and Atlassian integration products?
Yeah, we don't have any new features on that right now. We are always working to improve, have bug fixes improve how they are working now, have making them compatible with new Atlassian versions. Um, but in the other side, we are focusing our work to support air gap workspaces, meaning that today. You can install that integrations, but if you have a server that don't have access to the internet, you cannot do that yet. So we are doing all this work on behind the scenes on the cloud to be able to register your server, have the keys to be able to buy an app, or having the enterprise license and being able to download all those apps and install inside your server. That's one step we want to complete before we keep moving on those integrations.
Nice. The third question is from Ethereum also. When will Rocket.Chat stop receiving new features and focus on polishing on its core and mobile apps?
Yeah, that's a good question. We can't just stop to adding new features because we have the community, and the community keep adding new features, proposing new pull requests of new features, and we cannot just keep that features there or deny to add them even more if that feature is something interesting. We are trying to move all those new features to apps. That's our main goal, to stop receiving new functionalities in the core. But for that, we need to wait for some features, at least to wait the engine to be more complete. We been able to edit the UI and add more APIs inside the apps, but that's our current goal. And we have our clients as well. Some clients need some features. Sometimes it's business, and sometimes we need to add some features in any ways. And of course, we have our internal roadmap, things that we want to implement. And if you can't do that inside apps, we need to do that first inside Rocket Chat. But the idea is to stop doing these things. And of course, we have the React Native replacement. So we are needing to add all the features that are missing yet. But until when we reach that goal, I think we are being able to uh, trying to focus everything in Rocket Chat apps instead of adding new functionalities at all.
We have another question here from Ethereum. His question is: 1 year ago, there was an announcement on the partnership between Rocket.Chat and Nextcloud. Are there any news regarding this?
Um, yes, we already have an integration with Nextcloud, so we can integrate the files. In some ways, you can integrate the logging. It's not perfect. We have a pull request that adds some of these features, make a dedicated section for Nextcloud login. That's already working. We need to finish that pull request, keep contributing that. It's for an external contributor. Um, but that there is a work going on already on this matter. Um, but to have a deeper integration, that the idea again is to have everything as an app. So we are kind of waiting to being able to add all those functionalities. For example, register new OAuth gateways, OAuth apps to being able to log in with via apps. And then a way we can have Nextcloud as an integration that you can just install, for example. So that's continue the idea of moving everything to an app. Um, and of course, there's some limited number of things that we can integrate between a file storage and a chat platform. You are embracing all common use cases, uh, but as I say, probably a deeper integration you can come in a app in the future.
Okay. And another question from Will Risk. When can we select multiple messages in a channel and group them like in discussions or in a thread?
Yeah, that's perfect. I was just discussing that some days ago. That's already planned. We have that planned since we developed the idea of having threads and discussions, because you know that uh, sometimes you start discussing that on the channel and want to group all those messages in a thread, or even we are discussing a thread and that thread keeps so long that you want to convert it to a discussion to stop sending messages to the main channel. And it's something that we want to do, but since we are doing messaging chaining, it's a big change in our core that we are going to have this chain of messages. What is the messaging chaining? Chain is when a message contains the hash of the previous message. So the ID of the message is a hash of the content of the message, and the next message contains the ID of the previous ones. So the previous ones in the body contains the hash of the previous ones, and so on. So the hash of that content contains the ID of the previous messages. The previous message depends. You can have more than one parent. Depends on the situation, and that means that we can. It's a blockchain, and you cannot change the message in the history. And we can always check what are the parents of the single message. You can follow all the history, and this will force us to stop editing messages. You cannot edit messages anymore. You need to create a new message, is a new version of the previous message, but it always needs to be a new event in the system. And since this change to convert a list of messages to be inside a thread or convert a thread to be another channel that's a discussion, needs to change the message content. We are still evaluating how this will be done. So we are kind of waiting this messaging chaining to be finished first to then decide how we do that. But it's in our roadmap for sure.
Cool. Okay, so last question from Ethereum. What is the base for the pricing on the Atlassian integration apps? What made Rocket.Chat choose to go with a subscription model instead of a one-time payment for Atlassian integration? And will perpetual license be available in the future?
Okay, yeah. Um, the pricing was evaluated by, we studied the market, Atlassian's marketplace. So we got there and list how other chat integrations was doing, how was the price of that integrations, and we study other marketplace. So we have a spreadsheet of with all those informations to compare and decide what the price we would use for that. So that was the first decision. Yes, we are still experimenting, see how people are the questions and opinions about this pricing as well. Um, but the subscription is more like it's a sustainable way we can we can do apps, right? If you sell just one version, it will force us to in some point in the future create a new version and sell a version 2 of the plugin, because we're not keeping developing something that we're not being able to earn money from that. It's a way to have a sustainable business and a model of revenue that we need. And we talked that that was a better solution than put everything in our enterprise version. So in that way, you don't need to buy the enterprise with all those integrations inside it. You can just buy the Jira integration or the Bamboo integration. It will be cheaper than you need to buy an enterprise for all of your users. Yeah.
Okay. Anything exciting you can share with us about the upcoming release 2.2?
Yep. We don't have any kind of new features in this new release, at least not yet. it's release more focused on performance, bug fixes, yeah, and have a better stability. As we just talked about, how Rocket Chat is planning to be stable and have a better quality. So that's a release that we are focusing on bug fixes, basically. But we have just small features, things that we are adding to like live chat and other small things that we have doing inside Rocket Chat, but nothing that are bigger things like we did with threads or chaining messages for the future. Nothing like that.
Awesome. News in the press says that Meteor has been sold. Is Rocket Chat doing anything to remove its dependency on Meteor?
Yeah, we already have planning this for a long time. We already doing some movements on that. The first thing was to remove all the packages. We started in Rocket Chat developing features in separated packages inside the project. In that way, you could disable a package inside the Meteor, but you need to rebuild Meteor to disable that feature to rebuild Rocket Chat. So we already moved everything outside packages to a standalone way, a native Node.js way using imports, so that would be easier to move out from Meteor. We already replacing Blaze by React, so that's another movement to remove Meteor as well. Uh, and we are start doing some microservices, and those microservices we are keeping splitting some pieces, for example, like notifications or authorization parts to a standalone Node.js application and use microservices to communicate them. And that apps doesn't requires Meteor anymore. And we have plans to start studying if you can use TypeScript and in those things moving out as well as microservices. It's a long way. We take some time moving pieces out, but yeah, that's our goal.
The other question is the macOS desktop app stopped working for many after the Catalina update. Can you explain what's happening?
Yeah, that was a surprise. Unfortunately, we had two problems with the Electron app, our desktop app. The first one was related to the version we distribute outside the Mac App Store, and that we had to sign in it in a different way because Apple now has a vulnerability scanning and a different signing for those apps that doesn't distribute that people install outside from the Mac OS. And that one is already solved. So if you if you download an app, our Electron app outside from our website, that should work. But are you still having problems with the Mac OS, the Mac App Store, because Electron is having some problem with I don't know. It's not a problem related with Rocket Chat itself. It's related with Electron, the framework we use to develop the app, and we are still trying to fix. We had sent that the app for 5 times or more to be reviewed by Apple, but we're still fixing one small thing here, another small thing, and then sending to review to being able to have that approved. So we are hardly working on this.
Okay. All right, everybody. This is the end of this month's AMA. We are having these webinars every month, so keep in touch and asking questions, please, via our channel on open.rocket.chat.
Okay, guys, thank you all. Watch the recordings of this AMA and past AMAs and webinars. And stay tuned for news through our social accounts. We have our Twitter account, Facebook account, and LinkedIn. So stay tuned.
Yeah, thank you, and see you on the next one.
See you. Bye bye. Thank you,
Bye-bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye bye.